You're listening to the Ordinary Joe's podcast with Joe D and Eric B. Ordinary Joe's podcast.
All right, we are back. And even though we did say last week we were going to talk about Easter stuff and stuff that I got a little too biblical last week. I got a lot of flack from my family members who didn't know that, damn, Eric, I didn't know you're that religious, you know?
Yeah, right.
It's like people were like, dude, the whole thing about talking about prayers and God answering your prayers is, I didn't know you felt that way.
They're like, is this the Churchy Joe's podcast?
It's like my aunt was like, I didn't know if I was listening to a podcast or listening to a sermon about Catholicism. What's going on here?
That's funny.
Oh man! So this time we're gonna go back to what we really like talking about. We like talking about movies, and if you guys lived under a rock the past couple days, HBO Max released Godzilla versus King Kong. Was it? It's just Godzilla versus Kong, right?
That's what it was. Godzilla. Yeah, Godzilla versus Kong.
I wonder if that's a something I'll talk about in the podcast when we start rolling. That maybe there was a little hint here.
Clue?
A clue here. For you guys who are wondering who my favorite was, I'm a big Godzilla fan, and there's a reason why, and I'll tell you guys why towards the end or when we go through this podcast, why Godzilla is a big fan of mine. But we are going to go kick this off. I am Eric B.
And I'm Joe D. And we are The Ordinary Joes.
All right. Hopefully that one synced in. For some reason, last week I thought we synced, and then I listened to it. I'm like,
Just a few seconds off.
Just a quick second. Joe, you watched the movie. Let's go ahead and start off. Tell me what you think about it. And if you guys don't know, I am wearing the Golden Gate Park shirt right here.
Dude, I love that t-shirt. That's a cool t-shirt.
I forgot where I got it. I'm going to switch the angles of the camera so you guys can see better. I don't know where I got it. I got it from a show one day, and the show, the card show, it was a classic card show that they had, and this guy was selling a bunch of different shirts, and this was one of them. And I'm like, dude, Golden Gate Park and Godzilla?
Yeah, no, you have to.
I'm taking one. You know what's funny? I should have bought you one because they did have a Godzilla in Times Square.
Oh, no way.
They did, but it was kind of this weird, like New York Giants blue colors. I was like, I'm not going to get that for
I've had one or two Giant shirts that was just too much blue.
It was really blue. I was like, I don't know.
But thank you. Thanks for the thought anyway.
Yeah, it was years ago, man, where I think I was still at the hotel, so.
Oh, wow.
All right, Joe, kick it off, Joe.
So Godzilla versus Kong. So my wife and I started watching this, right?
Yeah.
And probably about 5 to 10 minutes into it, we realized, wait a minute, we're lost. We're missing something. And we completely forgot that we didn't see the one before it. Was that 2019, the Kong, what was it?
Godzilla, King of Monsters?
I'm sorry. Yeah, Godzilla, King of Monsters. So we were like, all right, wait, let's backtrack. So we went and watched that one today. And then right after that, we watched the newest one. So yeah, I'm like, I'm all caught up, and I liked it, man. I don't know. I thought it was really cool.
Yeah.
The CGI was amazing. Like the fight scenes, like I thought was in Skull Island, that fight scene with King Kong and I think they call him the Skull. I don't know, the Skull Runners or something like that, or anyway, I thought that was crazy. I thought that was sick. But the I'm not gonna get into detail. I don't want to ruin it for anyone. But the fight scenes.
Oh wait! Spoiler alert for you guys who haven't watched it. Spoiler alert! If you haven't watched it, spoiler. Go ahead, Joe. Go ahead.
So the beginning fight scene with Kong and Godzilla. I mean, I was just like, man, this is really cool. I mean, I watched it in my living room. I didn't go to the movies, but this is like, these are the scenarios where it's like, man, I missed the movie theater just for movies like this.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, I don't know. What are your thoughts on it? Did you?
So, couple things. So, I did follow the whole, King of Monsters, Godzilla, King of Monsters, and all the way back to Skull Island, and I was waiting for this movie to come out, and when this is one of the big reasons why I got HBO Max. You know, it's like when they showed Godzilla versus Kong is coming out, I'm like, I definitely got to get this. I grew up your brother's age where sci-fi and Godzilla and King Kong was like ruling like TV shows back in the days. And back then the Godzilla CGI was terrible, right? You know, it's a guy and the guy in a rubber suit.
Guy in a suit, yep.
Going back to what you said, the CGI in this one, man, and not only the CGI, the I can't even say the word. Cinematography, the camera angles that they were getting, like the part when they were in the ship. And when they were like bringing us into the ocean, and you know the camera's coming up the same time, you know we're like looking in Godzilla's eyes. We're like, wow, the guy who did this, the guy who filmed this, forget what his name is. I have it all pulled up, but I forget what his name is. That guy was a genius. The way he did this, I mean, the storyline was good. A couple of things that I would have taken out. Tell me about this. You saw King of Monsters. Right. Millie Bobby Brown had a good part in that movie. What the hell was she doing in this movie? She was kind of useless in this movie to me.
Yeah, I was a little confused too, like with the whole deal with her mom and you know how she kind of went bad, and there was a lot of and I really don't know. I think she was just a reason. I don't know, for her dad and her mom to you know go looking for her. I don't know, but there wasn't really like that. She didn't have I guess the character wasn't necessary. They just sort of threw her in there. I
didn't like her. I didn't feel her character at all. I mean, she was cool, and there was a couple things that they could have used her for, but just the whole reasoning of having her there. I mean, what was she there for? Even the guy Bernie, the podcaster. I mean, shout out to podcasters alone. His podcast was kind of cool because he was actually telling listeners like, hey, this is what Apex is doing, and this is what I think they're doing. So I liked the fact that they were doing that. I was like,
and he was the comedy relief, right? It was obvious. He had the one-liners, so you got his character. I really don't know. I think maybe they put so much effort into the CGI where they just kind of slap together. We need her on the marquee, like she sells. She's hot stuff. So let's just put her in there.
But even like in the first one and the King of Monsters one, and like just like you, I went back a couple weeks ago to watch it just to get filling with this. To me, Ken Watanabe was the show stealer in that one, and he played. He played Dr. Hiroshi Serizawa.
Yeah.
So to me, he was the guy that took over that show in Godzilla King of Monsters. I mean, it's like, Millie Bobby Brown's going off the whole Stranger Things, and let's go ahead and in case the movie doesn't do well, we have a big name. Yeah. But her and the guy Julian Denson who played her friend Josh. Right. I mean, besides that ending scene where he takes the vodka and he spills it on it to like kill, Mechagodzilla, that's the only part that he was really useful.
I mean, that's obvious. That was obvious that they just, they wanted the names there. I mean, that didn't bother me so much, but I feel like, and maybe I'm jumping the gun. Maybe they'll answer some questions in another movie if they're going to do one. But I felt like there was a lot of stuff that wasn't explained because the character you just said that was the gentleman's name, Watanabe.
Yeah, Ken Watanabe.
Right. There's the guy who's controlling the Mecha Godzilla. And this one has the same name, so I'm like, okay, is that his son?
Yeah, that's his son.
All right, do they explain that at all, or maybe did I miss that part? Because I assumed right away that was his son, but I felt like they didn't go into that more. Like
they didn't. Yeah, you're right. They didn't go into it, but I guess for fans, and you have to be like one of these eagle eye fans that when you heard the name. Serizawa. When you heard the name Serizawa, and I think when they introduced them as, this is, Serizawa. Wait, I'm trying to pull up his name right here. Ren Serizawa. We kind of, if you're an Eagle Eye fan and you're like, oh God, that must be his son, right? That's his offspring. So we were supposed to get that. And the only reason why I caught it is because I had kids in the room and they're like, "Oh, that's that's his son. What was he taking over the place?" I'm like, "His son? The hell? He has a son?"
Yeah, that was the same. I only caught it because we literally watched them back to back. So I was like, "Oh wait, that's the guy's name. That must be his son." But they never like went deeper into it, and I guess like you said, we were just supposed to pick up on that. But I don't know, if that's something that they'll go into more if they do another one. I hope they do another one.
Yeah.
But man, I mean, these last two movies are chock full of characters. You know what I mean? Because like you said, I was a little young, but I'm old enough to remember, on Sundays when they would have all the Godzilla, King Kong movies, and I remember, Mothra and all these different characters. I was like, this is great. They're gonna kind of spread these out into multiple movies like back in the days, but I was surprised that they pretty much had all of them in two movies.
Yeah.
So I'm like, where do we go from here?
I mean, yeah, you're right. Where do we go from here? I mean, I grew up watching movies like Ultraman, right? You remember, if you Japanese guys, you guys anime fans, if you guys know who Ultraman is, you know who I'm talking about. Are they going to go that route? I mean, Godzilla already killed, the monsters in the last movie. So where are we going to go now? What's, Mechagodzilla? They just showed Mechagodzilla and he got killed. So where are we going? Where are we going to go now? I mean, there's a couple things. Again, there's a couple plot holes that I didn't like about this movie, and the whole how Millie Bobby Brown's character and them made it all the way to Hong Kong and just a snap of a finger because they stole away in that little ship. I think the person who stole the show to me was the little girl, and I'm trying to pull her name up.
Yeah, she was great.
Trying to pull her name up, and then it's funny because I read that she's really deaf in real life.
Oh, no way.
Kaylee Hotel. I'm hoping I'm saying her name right. Yeah, she's supposed to be deaf in real life, and she stole the show. To me, just the whole like they didn't know that Kong was signing.
Yeah.
They were like, wait a minute, did he just say that?
Right, yeah, because that lady was like, she always felt like he kind of understood, but there was never any signs, and then he just like starts, signing to the little girl. But no, I agree, her performance was amazing because you forget that we're seeing these monsters and all this stuff on screen, but they're just looking at freaking green screen and dots when they're doing it, so her reactions and just the way she was acting, and like kudos to her. She did a really great job. So
I am reading her IMDb, and it does say she is she's in her native fluence is American sign language, so she is deaf in real life. So she to me, she stole the show, just the way she did everything. And the way she portrayed her character was like, what kills me about this movie, and this is one of the things that I wanted to talk to you about, is everybody that's in the whole gorilla primate thing, the first thing everyone tries to do is try to sign with these creatures, right? These mammals or whatever they are. Why did not that person, the person who played the character, what was her name? Rebecca Hall, Eileen, and whatever her name was, why didn't she realize, well, let's try to sign with Kong and maybe he'll it took a little girl to do this for them to say.
I think it was because, and she had mentioned, it was just something about the little girl that he was like, they had a connection, because anyone else, he was trying to rip their heads off.
Killing him, yeah, exactly.
Yeah. So for whatever reason, that little girl, he had a connection and she could calm him down. And so, maybe the fact that she wasn't scared of him, maybe because she couldn't hear how scary he sounded for one,
Yeah.
So they I don't know, he trusted her enough that he could sit there and have that conversation. But my thing is like, when the hell was she doing this? No one saw him,
I mean, hell, she just got up in the middle of the night and starts walking over there. It's like they're like, hey, guys, the little girl is walking over there.
It was the ET ouch. I'm like, oh, he's gonna crush her fingers.
I mean, I like the way she was portrayed in that movie. I mean, she wasn't like some dumb kid who was just like you're like, kid, you're gonna kill yourself or you're gonna get people killed. No, she didn't. She actually, I would think she saved a lot of people with the way, the whole coward thing. That to me, that was
that was hilarious. Yeah.
Coward.
What? Now let me ask you this, because this was one thing that I was like, wait a minute, what's going on? They didn't explain at all, and I don't know what to think about it. And it was when they went to Hollow Earth.
Yeah.
Right. And Kong finds his home. I'm like, okay, wait a minute. This is some sort of lair, with doors, and he finds this axe that has all this stuff on it that lights up and lights up from the earth or whatever the hell, charges up from the energy from the earth. And then you see this picture of I'm assuming that was some sort of dragon, or might have even been Godzilla.
Yeah.
Who built all that? Like, where did that come from? I mean, they just threw that in there, and I'm like, wait a minute. Okay, did King Kong build that, or was there some alien? I personally just assume that it was some sort of alien civilization that was here, in ancient times that built that, because I just don't know what else to make of it.
This is what I read, and this is just going off what I read. I don't know if you noticed the axe that he had one of Godzilla's tail or fins on there. So that fin was radioactive, right? So that's why at the end of the movie, when Godzilla shoots the breath onto that fin, it lights up, and that's how they get Mechagodzilla. So supposedly, at one point, they were coexisting in Middle Earth. Kong and the Godzillas, whatever they're called.
Right.
But explained in the movie, there has to be one alpha. There has to be one alpha, and Godzilla's group was always the alphas. But gorillas are always the alphas when it comes to their tribe. So when I read what was going on, one had to leave. So Godzilla's group left. And I guess that's the whole thing with the whole Japan and how they went to Japan, where the Kongs stayed there, and how they ended up, like in Skull Island.
Right.
Yeah. That part I haven't got to yet. Yeah. And if you watch the beginning of Skull Island, or if you watch Skull Island, go back and watch Skull Island. They show Kong's mom and dad. They show the skulls, there, right? So it's like Kong's like an adolescent during Skull Island. He's trying to raise himself. And these people finds him, and and in Godzilla versus Kong, he's actually, I don't know if he's a teenager now or if he's like a early life adult.
But he's bigger in this one too. They mentioned, so I don't know. I mean, I guess hopefully they'll. I mean, it didn't bother me so much because the movie is still cool enough.
Oh my god, it was.
And even the scene when they go into Hollow Earth or whatever, and he's down there and he's just kind of looking around, and he jumps from one part to the other, and like all that to me was amazing, because at first I'm thinking, wait a minute, where's all this light coming from? Like, is this the sun? And I'm like, wait a minute, it's the core. I'm like, that's sick. Like, because like it just opens so many doors for like sci-fi topics and things like that.
Let me ask you this though. When he was going there and they were following him and he was jumping, and like that one part where he actually, the upside down part, right? So he jumps and then all of a sudden he's right side up. Did that scene not remind you of Donkey Kong?
No, I didn't even think of that.
Every time he kept running and he kept jumping, in my head I kept going boing, boing. The jumping part of Mario. That's all I kept thinking about. I'm like, is this?
And there's the scene with the ships when he's like running over them. Like, that's funny.
Like,
I didn't think that.
This whole movie is Donkey Kong. It's what we're watching, man. We're watching Donkey Kong. But it was a good movie. I mean, I totally enjoyed everything about it, and it's just like, it brings me back to what we were watching back on those days where you couldn't wait for the Saturday mornings or even like the Saturday evenings when you're like, okay, Donkey Kong, so here I go. King Kong is gonna come on, and Godzilla's gonna fight Mothra and all this stuff. And I like this, man. I like this. They did good with this one.
Yeah.
And I'm hoping when they come out with another one, they don't mess it up. And
Yeah.
you're gonna have to try to beat this one.
Right. So yeah, I think these were perfect movies to finally remake because what we loved about them back in the day wasn't the special effects. It was the story, the
Yeah,
characters that they made. We knew it was cheesy back then. You could
yeah,
tell it was a guy in a suit. So to now bring that, years later with the special effects and CGI now and make it more dramatic, and I love it. See,
yeah,
that's the sort of remakes that I like. Not
yeah.
not when they take a classic and then just
They
beat it to
ruin it.
death and
I mean,
ruin it.
how did you like the one with Matthew Broderick? The Godzilla version, the one where he's in New York.
Was that the one where like P Diddy did a song, had a big hit song for it,
Could
I
have been. It
think.
could have been.
I'll be honest with you, I don't even really remember it.
Yeah.
I saw it and I don't think I cared for it,
Yeah. Yeah.
to
Yeah.
be honest. That's
Well,
usually for me, that's how I gauge if I like a movie, is if I can remember it.
the one thing that I didn't like about that movie was they changed the way Godzilla looked. They made him look more like a prehistoric dinosaur,
Hmm.
but they gave him the same. They gave him that sound, but they
Yeah.
made him look like a dinosaur.
Yeah.
And I'm like, this is not the Godzilla we grew up watching. The shirt on my shirt is the Godzilla we
Right.
grew up watching.
Right.
So when they came back with Godzilla, I think did they come out with a Godzilla before King of Monsters? Wasn't there another one before that? Let me.
They did. It was in 2014 with Bryan Cranston, I believe. That was the one, I think, where they lose their son.
Yes. Wait, no. You're
Or
you thinking of Jurassic Park?
maybe I'm thinking that. No, no, I
Is
think
it?
there's a
Okay,
Godzilla
2014.
2014,
Yes.
Bryan Cranston. Yeah,
Okay,
right.
yeah, all right. Oh, that's the one in San Francisco, right?
Yeah,
Yes,
yeah, yeah,
yes. That's right.
yeah.
So they did come out with that one, and then Ken Watanabe was in that one as well.
Right.
And then that's when Godzilla got woken up because the whole radio action kind of thing started to happen.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, and I
who-
think the doctor, the what's her name? Billy Bobby Brown. Her
Yes.
mom, remember they had lost their son,
Yep.
and that's why the mom kind of turned and went with those bad guys
Yeah.
and freed all the things. So
That's right. That's
Yeah.
right.
see, and I didn't know that till today when I started to backtrack. I'm like, oh, wait a minute, that's right. These are all connected. I'm
Yeah.
like, this and all week, all of them have been on all month, I think, on HBO.
Yeah, they're
So
trying, they're
it's
trying to
been
show
cool.
us. They're trying to get us caught up with
Yeah.
everything. That's the one with Wanda. What's her name? The one who plays WandaVision. She was the
Oh, yeah,
wife
yeah,
in
I
that
know her
movie.
name.
Yeah. Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah. No, that was a good movie. I hated how it ended in San Francisco and they just killed San Francisco.
Yeah.
But yeah, that was a good movie too. And who were the monsters they were fighting in that one? That's what I'm trying to figure out. Was it
Oh, wow.
was it Mothra? It was Mothra. No, it wasn't Mothra.
Was it? No, couldn't have been, because Mothra was a larvae in the second one, or I mean in this one, or was it just Godzilla?
No, because
Kicking everybody's
Godzilla was going through. He was fighting these radioactive monsters again, and then that's why he was following them. But I forgot who the monsters were. It was the two larvas. It was the two larvas.
Oh,
Right?
you're right. You're right. You're right. Yeah, yeah. Those, was it those like kind of dinosaur looking?
Yeah, yeah. I'm watching the trailer as we speak. Yeah, it was following two larvas, and then that's the
Okay.
reason why Godzilla was awoken again, because of the radioaction that was going on with those two larvas. That was an okay flick to me.
Yeah.
But when they came out with King of Monsters, they came out with different monsters. I was just like, wow,
Yeah, yeah.
wow.
That one, that it had such a nostalgic feeling, because you're like,
Yes.
oh man, they have the, oh man, they have
Yes.
like, and I like how they touched on and I can't think of the monster's name. I think they were calling him Monster Zero before they found out what the name was. The like the dragon, the
Yeah, the
three-headed dragon thing,
Yeah, yeah.
and they had determined that one came from outer space. That was why that H2O bomb didn't, or oxygen bomb didn't affect it, and it only weakened Godzilla because it wasn't from here. And so I'm like, that's cool because that could leave the door open for them to maybe create some new monsters going forward. Maybe they just figured, hey, we'll pay homage to all the originals.
Yeah.
We'll knock them out early, and then we can just kind of
make our new
start
ones.
a new. Yeah. I'm hoping anyway.
It was Ghidorah. Ghidorah is the name of the three-headed monsters.
Yes.
And that's what they did in this movie was they took the main head of Ghidorah, wasn't it? And then that's when they said we're going to use this whole virtual thing, and and I loved how Ghidorah just took over.
Yeah.
It's like the guy sitting in the chair. All of a sudden, he's like,
yeah.
And they're like, oh shit, what happened, right?
Yeah, because that's what I was thinking. I like how they spun it because I was like, oh man, are they gonna make this guy's son a bad guy now? Like I'm thinking, all right, he wants to avenge his dad's death, what he did. But that wasn't the case. It was like, no, screw you. I'm just gonna do my own thing and take over the world. I'm like, yes, this is great.
And it's funny because
the stuff I like.
That's exactly, if you go back to like the 1960s, the 1970s, Godzilla versus Mechagodzilla, they took exactly what happened in this movie, and that's exactly what happened in that movie, in those TV shows where the same thing, they had a guy sitting in a chair and he had his head connected to, I don't know if it was Ghidorah, if they used Ghidorah back then, but the same exact concept. Till all of a sudden the spirit of the monster went into and took over Mechagodzilla. So I'm like, wow.
Yeah.
Let me ask you this, man. What did you think about Mechagodzilla?
I liked it. I said this to my wife. I'm like, this is so cool because, to come from guys in cheesy costumes to them like really making it look sick. Like it looked like a robot and it was like badass and it wasn't cheesy. I loved it. I was like, this is great. And I liked how they kind of spun the story because like a friend of mine asked me before this came out, he's like, who do you think's gonna win, Godzilla or King Kong? And I'm like, I said, personally, I like King Kong and I hope he wins, but I just don't think he's powerful enough to beat Godzilla. So the fact that they didn't pin them together. Well, they did, but then they end up being on the same side and they both end up becoming the heroes. I was like, all right, that's cool. And then you get to see Mechagodzilla, who freaking looks sick, man. I loved it. I thought it was dope.
When they showed the first time they showed Mechagodzilla, I looked over to one of my boys who was sitting on the couch with me and I said, I already fucking figured this whole thing out. They already watched. They watched it the night that it came out, right? So they were watching it with me. They were watching with me and my dad. And he looks at me. He goes, "That's what I hate about you." And I go, "Why?" He goes, "You look too much into the movie that you just don't enjoy the movie." He goes, "What's gonna happen, Dad? What's gonna happen?" And I said, well, Mechagodzilla is going to go bad, and Godzilla and King Kong are going to join forces, and they're going to end up, killing Mechagodzilla. And then here's my son. He's like, you always ruin things.
You must be great at parties.
Oh, man, I'm the worst. I'm the worst at parties. You got that dad brain, right? He's like, you got to think ahead. You got to think ahead of what's going on. And it's like, I said, hey, I don't know what's going to happen or how it's going to happen. I'm just thinking this is what's going to happen.
No, I'm just laughing because that's completely true. I do the same thing, and I get it from my dad. Absolutely. Like, we watch a movie and he's just analyzing and figuring it out and it's just like, come on, dude, can we just watch this, please? Like, but then he'll get mad if you ask him, like, wait, what's going on? I don't know. I'm watching it just like you are.
Well, my son said watching a movie with me and my dad are the two worst things. I'm the guy that analyzes every little thing, and my dad is the type that says, they should, what, if they did it this way, it would have been a lot. Why is he even on a ship? My dad was asking questions like, how much does he weigh that ship can hold him so easily?
Just thinking the same thing, though.
It's like that was like the safe zone for Kong, right? He gets on the ship and he just stands there and the ship doesn't even like rock.
Nope.
They're like, how?
Yeah,
and I'm like, I don't know.
I was thinking the same exact thing. I'm like, man, that's bullshit. Because I've been paddleboarding, and it is so hard to get back up once you fall in the water. And I really find it hard to believe he got up with that much ease. And yeah, that thing like barely budged.
Yeah, and it's like he gets back on the ship, and everyone's just there like they're not even moving, like rocking back and forth. I got on a cruise ship, and it's like we hit a wave, we're like, oh,
Right.
You got this 500,000-pound gorilla getting on the ship, and everyone's like, "Did you guys feel that? Huh? What was that? I didn't feel nothing."
Dude, that's so funny. I was thinking, I'm like, how? I'm like, oh, whatever. Okay, I guess I'm supposed to accept that.
Here's what kills me about that part of the movie, though, and when they said we couldn't turn the ship back on because Godzilla will find us. Mm-hmm. So the scientist goes, well, maybe we can find another way. And then they cut scene and they show him on a big net and helicopters, bringing him over there, right?
Yeah.
Everybody knows who are Godzilla fan, even if you're not a Godzilla fan, Godzilla lives in the freaking ocean. Mm-hmm. So to take the creature that you want to get you to Hollow Earth on a ship that's dominated by Godzilla was suicidal. When the whole time you could have did exactly what you just did, take him on take him on a helicopter and bring him over there. So when they did that, I'm like, why didn't they just do this in the first place?
Yeah. I the only thing I can think of, right, and then actually kind of it's a good segue into a question that I was going to have for you, right? They've had that first battle and it was clear Godzilla won, right? And then they fight the second time when King Kong gets his axe, and then that's when he kind of blew him away and he falls back and all that, right? And then they were like, somebody, I forget which character, is like, I guess it's 1-1 or something like that, or they're tied or something like that. And then that last battle, what did you understand to happen when they were fighting and Godzilla had his foot on top of Kong, and to me it looked like he could have took him out, but he doesn't? Did he did he have mercy on him, or I don't get what happened.
I think Godzilla knew that Kong was defeated, that I got my foot on you and all I have to do is press and you're dead.
And you're done.
And you're done, yeah, because he had his foot on his chest, right?
Yeah, so and he was kind of torquing.
Yeah, you're done. And they did this whole growling thing to each other. And I think that growling thing was like Godzilla telling Kong, like, look, I got you.
Yeah,
you're
like
done.
Showing his dominance.
You're done. Like you get back up, I'm going to kill you. And I think Kong was like, he was already at the point where he was already hurt. Like, they even said in the movie, his heart's slowing down. So I think Kong already realized,
like, shit, I can't beat this guy.
I can't. Even with a fucking axe, I can't beat this guy. So I think Godzilla said, bow down or I'll kill you.
Right. Okay.
And I think that's what Kong ended up doing. He bowed down. And what happens when he bows down? The little girl Gia says his heart's slowing down,
Yeah.
Then they did the whole cheesy thing,
Yeah. Brought him back to life.
Where can we get an AED big enough to,
So Michelle pointed something out. The guy that hops into that machine and goes and flies and all that stuff, his brother is
Skull Island. He was on Skull Island.
No. His brother is the guy that plays the dude from It. Why can't I? Pennywise.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. The reason why she's like she's looking at his face. She's like, man, that's the guy that plays Pennywise? She's like, it's got to be. And she looks, she IMDb's him, and she's like, oh no, it's his brother. She's like, wow, they have the same face. I was like, why do you know these things?
Yeah. He's the guy in that cheesy movie called Battleship. I don't know if you've seen the movie Battleship.
I did see Battleship. With Rihanna.
Yeah, he was the other brother where the ship got destroyed. Did the ship get destroyed in the beginning? I think his ship got destroyed. Yeah, his ship was one of the first ships that the aliens destroyed. So that was the same guy. So he gets a bigger role in this one. One part about Hollow Earth that I didn't like is you're going into the core of the Earth, and these guys, these billionaires, these millionaires, and even like the scientists, they come out of the ship like nothing.
Right.
I'm thinking, like, of course, I'm analyzing the movie, and I'm like, can they breathe down here?
Yeah.
Is the oxygen the same? You know?
Exactly. Where's the oxygen coming from?
Where's it
Isn't the
come
core
from?
burning it up? Like,
Yeah.
yeah, there's a few sciencey questions
Yeah.
that don't add up.
And I know you guys are gonna kill us and be like, "Yo, man, this is a sci-fi." I get it; it's a sci-fi movie, but
Yeah.
if they came out there with a mask on their face, breathing heavy, and then someone takes the mask off and says, "Okay, the air's breathable," then I'll get it.
Right. Yeah.
But they just opened that little back door, and then they all go out.
Yeah. See, that bothers me when people say that stuff. Like, come on, it's sci-fi. You gotta have an imagination. Like, no, that the basis of sci-fi it's based off of science. You take what science we have and what we know, and the possibilities that could happen in the future with the science we have now and where we're going, and then you take that and you build a story off of that, of what could possibly happen. But the science, that's important. The science has to be right. That has to work, because if otherwise it just doesn't,
Tell us
it's silly. Then
science.
it's just fantasy.
Yeah. I mean, that's exactly what I thought of when they did that. I'm like, okay, they just kind of showed me that they were more in a fantasy world now than they were in the real world.
Right.
It's like, okay, I get that they're still in Earth, but how do we know you can breathe down there?
Yeah, and then that's kind of when I started feeling like, wait a minute, what's going on here? Because he goes to his lair, it has his palm print, and it has these doors. I'm like, who built those doors?
Yeah.
Those are pretty, those look like those were made with tools.
Yeah.
When the axe charges up, you see the graphic or whatever of I think that was Godzilla or something, because you said they lived together. So did the Kongs carve that out? Are they that smart? There's so many questions, and I'm like, all right, okay, I guess
this
I'll
is
let it
a good.
slide.
This is a good prequel. This is good. This is, now that we saw Middle Earth or Hollow Earth. Sorry, now that we saw that, Middle Earth is Lord of the Rings, isn't it?
Lord of the Rings.
Yeah. So now that we saw Hollow Earth, maybe they could do like a prequel on how King Kong or Kong and his family got there. And this is a good segue to what I just asked you before we got on live is his name is Kong, but we all know him as King Kong. So are they going to come out with another movie and give him the name King Kong? We all know him as King Kong, but in this movie, Godzilla showed dominance, that he was, or she, because everyone knows Godzilla is a female, Godzilla was the alpha, or So are they going to come out with another movie? Maybe Kong saves everyone, and someone's going to do a cheesy line and go, "He is king."
Like Juice, you're the king now, or something.
I got the juice now.
Yeah. Hey, and again, not to nitpick, but another thing I kind of like observed, like from the Godzilla movie before this one, and these two guys, I'm surprised that 5 years from now, everybody's not just gonna have cancer from all the fucking radiation that's being spread throughout these cities in the world and the planet. And then forget about the mass destruction these things are, everybody's like, oh, Godzilla's saving us or King Kong is saving us. They're like, yeah, after they've killed thousands of people blowing up these buildings, and I'm like, come on. But I don't know. But everybody's
you're right though. I mean, it's like, and it's funny now. I want to know what China's gonna think. What's China gonna feel? Because they destroyed Hong Kong.
There was nothing left.
They destroyed Hong Kong. So is China going to boycott this movie because they're going to be like, no, you destroyed Hong Kong. We don't watch this. But yeah, all that, when we went and talked about 9/11, and there's people now who's suffering because of all the dust particles that they're breathing.
Yep.
What's going to happen with these same people? These buildings are falling around you. The mass casualties of the dust that you're inhaling. What's going to happen there?
When these things are fighting, and I'm like, they're glowing, and then there's that one scene where Godzilla's just on fire practically, and they have I'm just like, wait, all this radiation, and these people just standing there like, ah!
Like Godzilla's blowing his was it atomic? Is it atomic? It's radiation breath. And there's people just the guy Bernie is like, yeah, yeah. And I'm like, yeah, dude, you're kind of close to that, man.
Let me ask you something. Do you know, have you ever heard of or watched any of the Mighty Joe Young movies?
That's the one with the gorilla, right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
I never, when I was a kid, my dad was a fan of those, and we had maybe one or two of those movies. I was really young though, and I never understood if like was that related to King Kong or did they just bite off of King Kong back?
Yeah.
Because it was pretty much the same story.
Yeah.
Like,
I think they just took the storyline and made Joe more friendlier than Kong.
oh, okay.
I think. I mean, I never. No,
Yeah.
Your answer is no. I never got into that stuff because, to me, it was a ripoff. It was, it was they were taking a story that we all love, and they were making, a more lovable character, and I'm like,
Yeah.
no, I can't get.
I
into
was
that.
so confused as a kid. At first I thought it was King Kong's son.
Yeah, exactly, right?
And then it was a little, I guess, a little campier and yeah, I don't know. I never understood it, but for me, I'm just like, wow, that was just like a blatant ripoff of King Kong because
Exactly.
it was a similar story. They like take him from the jungle somewhere and then put him on display, and he escapes into the city. I'm like, this is King Kong. Like, what are we doing here?
This is not Joe. This is not George of the Jungle. This is King the freaking Kong. Yeah, you're right. Even that movie, Rampage with The Rock.
Right.
To me, that was kind of like a ripoff of King Kong. You take an ape, meteor falls into Earth, and all of a sudden you get this giant ape. And he's growing even more, and like, dude, that's exactly what King Kong did.
The only reason why I liked Rampage was because it was pretty much exactly like the video game. So the arcade game Rampage was a ripoff of King Kong. I guess they couldn't get, the rights to King Kong, so they created something similar to King Kong, and it made this video game, which ended up being a classic arcade game back in the days. And so they made the movie for it. So in the respect of how it's just like the game, I loved it for that, but it's still a ripoff of King Kong, you know. But I enjoyed it though. I thought that was a good movie too with The Rock and I forget who else is in that. But.
Yeah, those people.
He's like, yeah, whatever.
Yeah, those people. George, that's his name. George. No, was his name George? Yeah, his name was George. George is the name of the big white albino gorilla.
It was.
Because every time we were watching King Kong and he was in Hong Kong, I kept going, George. I kept shouting the rock voice, George. But yeah, man, a lot. The special effects had a lot. That's what got me, was the special effects in the movie. It wasn't campy, it wasn't cheesy. Again, Millie Bobby Brown. You get this high school kid who listens to this guy's podcast and listens to the Bernie's podcast religiously. And this guy's trying really hard to stay under the radar. Doesn't want this company Apex to find him because they're afraid. He's afraid that someone's going to take him out because he's like spilling the beans on this company, right?
Yeah.
And
he's
here
a whistleblower.
you have a high school kid and the friend who finds out exactly where he lives. Just by listening to, the guy was like, I guess he wasn't smart by saying that he lived, like he likes to frequent Chinatown and he likes to buy bleach. So they go to the store and then they're like, hey, is there somebody here that buys a lot of bleach? Then you get the character, Ronnie Chang's character, who's like, get out of here, man. Get out of here.
Yeah.
And then it's like, I don't want to say like typical Asian. They throw down some cash, and he's like, oh, I know who you're talking about.
Yeah.
Go buy a fish, and I'll tell you who he is.
Right. Go buy that part made me laugh. He's like, go buy a live fish. And I'm like, what are we supposed to do with the live fish now?
I kind of wish they showed us what they did with the live fish.
I thought it would have been so much funnier if they went and knocked on his door and they had the live fish in their hand. I was like, where you killed the joke. Like but that was probably just him ad-libbing, and they just didn't bother, continuing with the joke. But by the way, his stand-up is hilarious.
Yeah. If you guys
if you guys haven't seen it, man.
Ronnie Chang. 50 First Dates, he was also hilarious in that movie, if you've seen him in that movie.
Yeah.
He's like, you the Carol Chu from the Chu family? The dental floss? Yeah, he was hilarious. You got to have a character like that though, right? You know, like you said, Bernie was that character where they had to have a guy who kind of like have to have some kind of comic relief in a serious movie like, you know, Kong. And you know, I don't want to be like say like, you know, every black guy dies in the movie. I'm glad he didn't die.
Yeah,
you know,
he made it through. Yeah.
To me, the funniest part was when they were in that glass shield, and you know, they're like, they found us. What are you gonna do? And then they're like, open the door, and he's like, nope, not gonna open it. And then they shoot it, and he's like, oh, hands are up. Don't shoot. Don't have nothing.
Yeah. I couldn't help but feel though like that would have been a part for Rel. They just couldn't get him. Similar characters to everyone he plays. The guy from who's that? The TSA from Get Out. That guy. I think his name's Rel. Yeah. That it seemed like that sort of character. I'm like, could they not get him? So they just found somebody close to him.
I kind of like how they didn't get a lot of, you know, besides again Millie Bobby Brown. Like I don't know who this guy Brian Tyree Henry is. I don't know what other movies he's been in.
Which character was that?
He was Bernie.
Oh yeah. I'd never seen him before. I mean, no, he was good though. He
played the character good, and it's like the fact that I was wondering, and of course, you know, we do a podcast all the time, right? I was hoping they showed his setup, but they didn't.
Like show him actually doing the podcast and like, yeah.
It's like, is he recording? Is he pulling a Joe and recording off his phone? Because in the beginning, that's what it sounded like he was doing. He was like recording from his phone, and I'm like, is he recording from his phone? This sounds pretty good.
That would have been cool. I wonder if someone's actually made that podcast. You know, stolen that name and made a podcast from it.
What was the name of his podcast? I forgot.
I don't remember. But I was like, oh, cool. He's doing a podcast.
There's something. I don't know if you caught this in the movie. About an hour, they were already fighting in Hong Kong. There was this epic scene where Kong is standing on a building and he's throwing something at Godzilla. That to me was the scene. To me, was a scene from the original King Kong, from when he was standing at the Empire State Building and he was hanging off the building and he was trying to catch.
Yeah.
I caught that right away, and my dad was like, it took my dad a minute to get it, but the son I was watching with, he was like, well, that's kind of like how it looks like in Universal Studios. Like when you walk down City Walk, there's Kong hanging out from that. I'm like, yeah, you're right, it is.
Yeah, I think I know the scene you're talking about, and it was really good. The cinematography there was amazing too. That was when the ship made it back out of Hollow Earth.
Yes.
And he was in the middle of fighting Godzilla, and they come out and they pass him, and it's that typical scene where he's swatting at it. You see his mouth really big, but then it goes right into Godzilla's face, and it's like, oh shit! Like they're trying to avoid both these gigantic monsters, like trying to save their ass at the same time. Like that was a sick scene.
Again, I'm gonna be play devil's advocate. One part that to me that I didn't really understand is when they did the whole shocking his heart, right?
Mm-hmm.
Dr. Nathan puts the ship on his chest. He has 30 seconds, 40 seconds before the ship lights up. How the hell did he get down so fast?
Movie magic.
You're like at a 500,000 ton gorilla on his chest. And it's like
he just slid down. It's furry.
So did he slide down the left side of the chest?
Yeah.
Did he walk all the way down to his groin and make his way? I mean, 1 minute they show him turning on the switch. You see all the lights light up, and then the next cut scene, it's kind of like they show the ship on top of King Kong, and then all of a sudden he's running on the street already, and I'm like, how the hell did he get down there so fast?
He just catapulted off his nipple and just slid
down the left nipple. Slid down the left nipple, came down, the left axilla, and
hauled ass out of there.
Next thing you know, he's running. I was like, yeah, I mean, I'm one of those guys that takes everything detailed very serious. And it was movie magic. Yeah, it's like one of those. I think it would have been more suspenseful if he was like, oh shit, how am I going to get down here? How am I going to get away from there? It's like, but the fact that he did it saved Kong's life, and know?
No, I'm definitely the same way. When I watch a movie, especially, sci-fi, fantasy, anything like that, I know there's got to be a little give. I have to let something
Yeah,
slide.
yeah.
So for me, the gauge of how good a movie is by how much did I have to let slide.
Yeah.
At some point, there's a point where I'm just like, okay, I can't anymore. This is just ridiculous.
Yeah.
I think this one it wasn't bad.
No.
I still liked it. Very enjoyable.
I mean, the good thing was the good outweighed all the cheesy stuff. I mean, there was a lot of good action versus the cheesy. I mean, I'm nitpicking here. The whole, and I'm pretty sure I'm not the only one who's wondering how the hell were they breathing in Middle Earth?
Yeah,
was it Hollow Earth?
Hollow Earth. Yeah, I kept calling it Middle Earth too.
Damn you, Frodo! Yeah, how are you breathing in Hollow Earth? I mean, to me, that was the whole. You made a special ship to get you through Hollow Earth,
right?
And then you're breathing regular.
Yeah, they made a big deal of how many attempts they made to try to get down there, and the ships exploded. And the first time in the other movie, they got the no, I'm sorry. The first time they went there was kind of by mistake. You know what I mean? They got sucked through some sort of like underwater tornado, whatever. So it's like you spend all this time showing how hard it is to get there and how crazy this place is, and you're just gonna let us assume you can breathe down there when that's the other thing. How can they breathe when the gravity is different?
Yeah.
They're floating, they're jumping. So obviously the oxygen and I don't know.
The oxygen, the oxide, or whatever, all that stuff.
You guys know the science.
But again, it's if they would have took 30 seconds when the doors opened up and then one of them was wearing a mask and then decides to take the mask off and says, okay, the air is breathable. I would have been like, cool. Yep. But you had that rich lady, Maya, the daughter, who's like, she opens the door, she's like, all right, give me my sample. And I'm like, how the hell are you breathing?
Yeah, my dad gets what he wants.
My dad gets what he wants. I'm glad she died,
But yeah, no, you're right. I mean, they did it in Prometheus. Takes 2 seconds.
Yeah,
it's like,
Prometheus.
oh, wait.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm reading that this place has oxygen. It's like a pocket of air. Oh, it's safe. Like, okay, right. I'll take that. Thanks. We can go on for the next hour.
Yeah. But again, that's a Ridley Scott movie, and I'm pretty sure Ridley Scott's not going to miss something like, because he's going to be like, hey, trust me, my Twitter feed's going to go up, and they're going to ask me, how the hell were you guys breathing? Yeah. We're not going to slip this one up. But again, there's a lot of positives that the cheesy parts, I overlooked.
Yeah, for sure. And I mean, I guess Godzilla and King Kong aren't really sci-fi; they're more fantasy. So I won't get too nitpicky with them.
I don't know. Would you consider them fantasy over sci-fi?
I think I would. I mean, I don't know. Actually, they could fall into both, because I mean, I think science could explain. You can use science to explain the monsters and all that, which they did.
Yeah.
It all depends on where they go from here. Like they could go fantasy if they get too crazy and start bringing in aliens and things like that, which I hope they don't necessarily do.
Ultraman.
Yeah, I don't think I could be mad at that if they go that route.
God, I've been waiting for an Ultraman, and I'm hoping this opens the doors for you guys who are listening or watching. You guys feel like maybe they are going to open the doors for an Ultraman? Are they? I mean, they're close to it with, like you see the technology this Apex company did with Mechagodzilla. Like you can have this group with Mechagodzilla. Maybe they're gonna do an Ultraman. I was hoping it was, when I saw Ren Sarazawa, when I saw him, I seriously thought, dude, this guy's gonna be Ultraman.
Yeah. And, I mean, I don't know if you kind of following the news or heard about like these kind of NFTs. That's the new thing that's kind of taken over the internet and right now, but I won't really get too much into that. But recently there was some NFTs, and we'll just say digital artwork, that was released on this app called Vivi, and it was all Ultraman, Ultraman characters. So maybe that's a hint, maybe that's a clue, because some of these collectibles come from Japan, and China. Like you can't even buy them on our market. So maybe they know something we don't. Maybe these are
Yeah.
clues of what's to come. But that would
Man.
be really cool. That would be really cool if they did Ultraman.
I don't know if America's ready for that though. I mean, you and I are ready for it. We're ready to watch it.
Yeah.
But you just took two iconic monsters, put them together. They had the epic battle, and now is America or is the world ready for an Ultraman? I mean, I'm talking about the whole world. I'm not talking about us.
Right.
We're ready for it. And I can name 5 other people who's ready for Ultraman, but is the world, I mean, the numbers, I'm talking about movie numbers. Are they going to get, they put in 100 million. Are they going to get 100 million back?
Yeah, that's a toughie because I mean Ultraman is not as known worldwide as King Kong and Godzilla, so maybe they might not, or I don't know. That's a tough one. That's a tough one.
Man, I mean, if they did it in a small platform like this, like an HBO Max, and just see how many people are willing to pay for a new subscription or how many people are going to watch it, I think go from there. If they say, okay, we got enough people to actually watch it, let's see how it goes in the big screen moving forward. I think it can work that way, I think.
Yeah, I think it can. I think they have, the technology for it. You look at something like Ant-Man, who kind of looks similar to what an Ultraman would look like, and you put that, just thinking of those 2 movies alone, putting that together, I think it would look sick. I think, so.
Did you watch
we'll put it out in the ether.
Did you watch the movie Ready Player One?
I did. I'm a big fan of that movie. I've watched it a couple times.
When they took the Mechagodzilla?
Yeah.
That Mechagodzilla, the way that Mechagodzilla was made up, it to me is my favorite Mechagodzilla. I mean, the way he looked, the way he looked like Godzilla just in a shell. This Mechagodzilla they did justice for it. They did make him look good. I was hoping they made him look more like they did back in the 60s,
I got you. Yeah. And they definitely nailed that in Ready Player One.
Oh, yeah.
That's like the feel of, because they did good with Godzilla in this movie where they kind of made him modern, but he still had the silhouette, like your shirt. He still, he jog those memories you had of Godzilla. Mechagodzilla, not so much. It was just it was just it was a cool adaptation of it. But Ready Player One, I think, nailed it.
Yeah. I was a little disappointed that Mechagodzilla, again, spoiler alert, and you guys are an hour into the show, and too bad if you're listening to, but I was kind of disappointed how he just died that. I mean, he got killed by two of the, apex creatures, but I kind of wish he had more screen time. I mean, he was killing the hell out of Godzilla. I mean, Godzilla was done for.
I think they over adjusted, because the last movie was super long, and then like this one's really short in comparison, and it doesn't waste time. Goes right into it, action throughout the whole movie. So it kind of leaves you wanting more. But I just hope they don't stop here. This is one of the few situations where I don't want them to stop making sequels. There's so much you could do with this.
Well, okay, now they did the Godzilla King of Monsters. They did Kong Skull Island. Now they put these 2 together. Do you think they're gonna go to Hollow Earth next with the next sequel and maybe talk about Kong and because they said in the movie, I think it was the end of the movie where it says one's gonna stay in Hollow Earth and be the king of Hollow Earth, and then the other one's gonna stay above ground and be the king and dominant of the above ground. So do you think the next sequel should be Kong and how he's doing in Hollow Earth and what other creatures are there? I mean, like, we only saw a few creatures in Hollow Earth. Those creatures were those little bat snake things that they showed. Those guys were freaky. So are they going to show? Maybe he's going to find his family down there. Maybe,
Yeah, I think so. I mean, there definitely has to be some kind of imminent danger towards the Earth. Something's got to be threatening Earth.
Yeah.
And I mean, they're like, now that they've kind of exposed Hollow Earth, that there was a lot down there that could, maybe they left a door open. Now it's easier for things to come out. And because a lot of those movies, that's what happens. Like, oh no, something's coming out of the water again.
After we told you not to go in there.
So I think now they're just probably going to have to be creative and come up with their own sort of monsters. unless they bring back some of the ones they showed, but I really don't think they'll do that.
Let me do a quick search on Godzilla monsters. I mean, what other monsters are there that he fought?
Because I mean, they've pretty much killed all of them that they face, right? I mean, Mothra died. They killed Mechagodzilla. Who else was that? I forget the name again, but the Monster Zero, the three-headed thing. They killed that.
Grunra. Well, I forgot his name already.
Yeah.
Wow, I'm looking at this thing online where it's showing all the Godzilla monsters. I can't even name half of them.
Oh, so there are more.
Yeah, well, there's a lot more. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, maybe it's like a Pokemon thing where it was just like it's nonstop.
This is the top 10, and we already saw Mothra, we already saw Mechagodzilla, we already saw the three-headed monster. There's a couple more, and it's not telling me their names, which sucks right now. Oh, here it is. There's Godzilla, Mechagodzilla, King Ghidorah, Mothra. We saw King Kong, Rodan. Did we see Rodan?
We saw Rodan.
Hedorah.
Yeah, Rodan was cool too.
Did we see Hedorah?
I don't think
Hedorah looks like the Swamp Thing. That's what he looks like in this picture.
Okay, no, I don't think we saw that one.
Abira, there's an Abira.
Oh, they may have showed the Swamp Thing, that thing that got up that looked like a mountain and then all of a sudden just got up and started kind of walking.
Maybe that could have been a teaser. And then there's one called Megalon. This one looks like a scary creature. Megalon. I think this is the top 10 Godzilla monsters that he needs to fight. So yeah, I mean, there's room. There's room. We saw half of the top 10s. We just haven't seen the rest of the top 10. So we'll see what happens.
Fingers crossed. Good. That's good to hear. I didn't see a lot of them when I was younger, or when I did, I was just so young I don't remember. Yeah. But the big names I always remember. Always a fan of.
Now was Rodan? Was he in the first one?
Rodan was in the Godzilla King of Monsters. He was the one that was like a phoenix. He came out of the mountain and was like flying on fire. And he at the end of the movie bowed down to Godzilla.
That's right.
And when Godzilla showed his dominance.
Now I'm wondering who was the one in the first one then? Who's that one?
That one I can't remember. I have to go back to watch that. The Bryan Cranston one? Bryan Cranston one, excuse me.
Yeah, I don't know who that one was. Let me ask you this. How cool would it be to be a place like Hollow Earth?
I think it would be pretty cool.
Yeah.
Because I feel like Hollow Earth, because the what's the word? The biology and the science and everything's so out of whack down there that I'm pretty sure there'd be like species of things that we've never seen and cures for stuffs and plants and like that. Yeah, I think it'd be pretty sick, honestly.
Yeah. What another plot twist that kind of gets me is at the end of the movie when they show Kong in Hollow Earth and he's like, doing his thing, running around there. The guy, Walter Simmons, is that his name in the movie? He was the main funder for this project, and they were using his ships. So now that he's dead and his daughter was dead, how are they getting down there? Were they using, his technology still? Because it was his technology that got him there.
I'm guessing they'll probably jump, into the future when all that stuff is figured out, and it's just probably common to head down to Hollow Earth. Yeah. I mean, it had me thinking, I'm like, man, that leaves a door open, and it's not something that they're gonna do, but like I can just imagine so many movies or series, specifically sci-fi, about Hollow Earth, a whole civilization living in the middle of the earth that maybe have no way of getting to the surface, or don't even know the surface exists.
It makes me wonder if that's where Bigfoot really is. Is Bigfoot going through a dimension and maybe coming out of Hollow Earth? And
that's one of the theories, that they have these tunnels that they go into mountains that go deep into the center of the earth or close to, that we can't.
Portals. That's what they're saying. Portals into a new thing. But yeah, I mean, God, if there wasn't Hollow Earth and they're like, dude, you want to go visit? You know, at first I'll say no, but
Yeah. It depends on how much they're trying to charge. I mean, you know, that right now I think it's like $200,000 to go to the space hotel they plan on building.
Who is
in
that?
10
That's
years.
what's the guy's name? Not Elon Musk. The guy
It's not Elon Musk.
the guy that owns Virgin.
No, it's not even.
It's
Well,
not him?
he's the one he's planning on. He's estimating will be about $200,000, but the hotel that they're planning on building in 10 years, it's actually somebody else.
Wow.
Yeah, it's a third kind of entity, and
Hotel.
yeah, and it's actually happening. It's going to be a thing. They expected by 2027 to be up and running. Now, I don't know how many people they'll have, if they'll have regular people there, but it plans to be up in orbit. Then, like, it's freaking nuts when you think about that, dude.
I'm trying to think. It's like I don't even like flying. Now you're gonna be like, you know, in orbit in a hotel. I mean, the littlest thing can fuck everything up.
Oh man, so much can go wrong.
No oxygen.
So much go.
No oxygen. Oh, we're running out of oxygen.
Yeah, you know? What are you gonna do? Like,
that's gonna cost you $300 million to breathe. You know,
like I lost my boarding pass. Like, what are they gonna do? Leave me out there?
They're gonna shoot you out to outer space.
I'll just be floating away.
It's like,
damn it.
My husband Joe was with me. Oh yes, he was with you. We'll find you another husband Joe that has his boarding pass.
That's him right there.
So what do you think? Did you like the movie? You enjoyed it? There was a lot of good things about it. Would you recommend it for anyone?
Yeah, I definitely would. I would recommend it, even if you never watched King Kong or Godzilla or weren't into it. But I highly suggest going back and watching the other movies. You don't need to in order to see this movie, but I think it'll make it that much better. You'll be kind of brought up on the story, and just they're great movies. They're great movies all around. I think I enjoyed them a lot. I think they're good family movies. I mean, there's some violence, but it's CGI violence. Yeah. So I mean, it's animals biting each other.
The one good thing I liked about this movie is when you talk about violence is they didn't show like a person get eaten. They didn't show like, except for the guy Ben Simmons. Is it Ben Simmons? Walter Simmons. When Mechagodzilla just kind of like did all that. They didn't really show, but other than that, they didn't show anybody getting stepped on. They didn't show any of that, which was kind of cool. You know, it's like you just kind of figured like if that ship that he sat on or stepped on is sinking, you kind of already know those guys are done. They're done for, unless they're like good Aquaman type swimmers.
Right.
But yeah, that's there was violence. It was a violent movie, but not the killing type violence where you're like, dude, they just chopped that guy's head off.
Yeah, exactly.
Nothing like that.
It's not overkill.
There's no gore, and that's the one good thing I liked about it. There was no gore. It's like an exception to when Mechagodzilla was trying to fight that one monster. Did they even say what that monster was that he was trying to fight when they were training?
No, I don't think so. That one thing that he ripped in half. Actually, I think that was what do they call them? Skull crawlers. So that's that. Yeah, if that's the same monster from Skull Island, that thing that's just like two arms and a tail. Okay, it's one of those things that they had to practice against.
And is that what they were when they stole away in that ship when they were going from wherever they were to Hong Kong? Was that what was in there? Then the little incubator.
I think that was in those like
those
round. Yeah. I think that's what those were.
Wow.
Yeah.
That is crazy. That part right there kind of threw me. Kind of like.
Yeah, and now that I think about it, it seems like a lot of the scenes with Millie Bobby Brown and her friend were just kind of thrown in there just to have them there because really didn't make that much of a difference in this movie. Yeah, it made sense in the one before, but in this one, it really didn't make that much sense to have them running around and doing what they were doing.
I honestly, again, first, as soon as the movie ended, I'm like, why do they need her?
Yeah,
they didn't need her. She didn't make a big difference. Nobody believed her. her own father didn't even believe her.
Yeah.
And the only reason why they added that kid at the end, Julian, was because he took the vodka and sprayed it over the thing. And it's like, come on, did I really need to see you guys for 2 hours? Well, they didn't see you for 2 hours, but for a 2 hour movie for you guys just to do that.
Yeah, and even the chemistry between the two, her and her friend, it's just it wasn't that viable, but whatever. It didn't really it wasn't too bad.
No, yeah, it wasn't a deal breaker. I mean, again, Bernie, having the guy Bernie, the character in there was a good thing, and I liked it. I'm gonna plan to watch it again this weekend, and this time I'm gonna nitpick a little more details and And are you one of those guys where I'm one of these guys? After every movie I watch, whether it's a Disney Plus movie, whether it's a Kong versus Godzilla movie, I go on YouTube and I try to look for the Easter, or I watch people who shows their Easter eggs. Do you ever do any of that?
Not every movie, but if it's something that I really like, and I mean, sometimes I'll watch a movie and I'll see something and I'm like, I'm Googling, wait a minute, is that, and that's risky because I've gotten spoiler alerts while I'm watching a movie, like, fuck, damn it, why did I look it up now? But in some cases I'm the one that, like, I'll go and look at, like, oh man, that's so cool. This is related to this. You see that picture in the back? Like, I love that stuff. Yeah,
I mean, I only do it on certain movies. The whole Disney Plus series, WandaVision, and every Falcon and Winter Soldier, I'm always looking at, Easter eggs after that, just in case there's something I missed. This one I did as well, but there was not a lot of Easter eggs, but there was more plot holes that they talked about, and a lot of the plot holes they talked about are a lot of the plot holes that I brought up, and other than that, it was a good movie, man. I enjoyed it. It brought me back to my childhood. But again, that the whole adult brain that's like, when I was like, wait, Mechagodzilla is being built. Godzilla and King Kong are fighting in the same place that Mechagodzilla is in right now.
It's like, it's inevitable.
It's like, so Mechagodzilla is going to come out and try to kill both of them, and they both end up going to try to kill Mechagodzilla. It's kind of obvious. No matter.
Yeah, no bad ends up being no bad guys.
Yeah,
so.
I mean, that was a good thing. I mean, like you said in the beginning of the show, people were asking, who do you think is going to win? I'm a big Godzilla fan, and going back to what I said in the beginning, and the only reason why I'm a big Godzilla fan is because growing up, you would watch Godzilla, you would watch Godzilla versus Mothra, Godzilla versus, Ghidorah. There was even one where Godzilla had a baby and it was called Baby Godzilla.
Yeah.
So growing up, there was more Godzilla for me to watch than there was Kong. And whenever you saw Kong, he was destructive, ape where, you had, the people took him out of his environment and that's why he's going crazy. But I watched more Godzilla growing up than I did Kong. And that's the reason why I'm a big Godzilla fan. In this movie, I kind of like Kong because that whole how close we are to humans to apes kind of like brought me close. We talked about that last week in our Darwin theory. And the fact that he was actually communicating with someone who was signing to him was like, God, I kind of respect this right now.
You kind of root for him. You're like, he's sort of one of us.
So I'm hoping in the next, sequel that they come out with, they kind of explain, maybe Hollow Earth to us. Maybe they explain why Hollow Earth is there. Like your question is, who built all that? Because he didn't even know how that was there.
He's like, oh shit, look at, oh, my hand fits here. Like, there was just
but again, for that scene, how intelligent was he? How intelligent was he that he knew, okay, I'm gonna put my hand here and these doors are gonna open. And then he took the axe and then he put the axe against that thing and then the whole thing lit up. How the hell did he know all that?
Yeah, it was almost like his memory started coming back to him, because then he's just like, he starts signing home and stuff. Like, what were you doing this whole time? Did you forget where you lived?
Like, what the hell? This is exactly what it was. But it was good. It was good. I'm not going to take nothing away from that one. So,
entertaining for sure.
Very entertaining. I would suggest you guys watching the movie before listening to the podcast. But if you're listening an hour and 14 into this podcast, it's too late. Sorry.
We warned you.
We didn't give you guys all the spoilers. We just told you what we liked and what we didn't like. So, there's still a bunch of things 2 hours. There's still another hour you can watch in that movie.
Yeah, for sure.
But it was good, man. I definitely like it. I definitely want to, I'm going to rewatch it. This time I'm going to watch it. I'm going to try to watch it alone with nobody talking to me so I can get more into what's going on.
Yeah, I think I want to do a marathon and start from the first one, back in the 2014 one, and work my way back up and kind of see how they look together.
It's a good idea. So let me ask you this: Are you gonna do Godzilla, and then Skull Island, and then Godzilla King of Monsters, and then the Godzilla versus Kong? Oh.
Yeah, I think that's.
I'm trying to see what came out first. Is that the order?
That's the order they came out.
Godzilla, Kong, Skull Island,
and
then
Godzilla,
I might do
King
that
of
too.
Monsters, and then this one.
I might do that too. That sounds interesting.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
That'll be.
It's a long marathon. It'll probably take a few days. I don't think I can knock it out in a weekend.
No. There's no way I'm gonna knock it out in a weekend. The way I am and the way things are, and I got old man bladder. There's no way I'm gonna knock it out in a weekend.
Yeah. I'll be asleep by the first movie, just thinking of all the other ones. I'm like, I'm not gonna make it.
You're like, yeah. Fast forward. Fast forward. Yeah. No, but it was a good movie. I enjoyed it, and definitely highly recommended. And for you guys who are watching and listening to us on the podcast, definitely go check this show out. Definitely check this out. Tell us what you think. If you guys had thoughts, if you guys liked it, if you didn't like it, if there's a plot hole that we missed that you guys know. Let us know.
Yeah.
Let us know. Let us know. I mean, if there's, if you guys wished, Mothra won and they killed King Kong and Godzilla. Again, he's not King Kong yet. I have this strange feeling that's coming.
Yeah, it may. Maybe they'll just go back to giving them both their single movie.
Yeah. I think they will. And I think, right now there's a reason why he's just Kong, because he's not King yet. But we'll see. We'll see how that goes. Man, this is the kind of podcast I like doing, man. This is fun.
Yeah.
We talked about the movie. We talked about everything about the movie, what we liked about the movie. And this is what we should be doing. We should be doing more like this.
Definitely our wheelhouse. Yeah, we won't get too heavy anymore.
Yeah. That was
there, but it happens.
Yeah. That was Holy Week, man. For you guys who are wondering, we were going to talk about Holy Week this week. We were going to talk about, the meaning of Easter, what all that did to us. But after listening to last week's podcast, I'm like, man, how spiritual did we get in an hour that we spoke? And that was supposed to be the Darwin versus Adam and Eve theory. We got all biblical and,
it got deep quick.
prayers and all that stuff. And this is more what we like to do. We like to more talk about crap that, I don't have to.
That everybody else talks about, that water cooler talk you have with your friends when you go to work tomorrow. Like, hey, did you see Kong versus,
Here's the thing that sucks about me is I work with a bunch of females. And it's like, hey, did you guys watch Kong versus Godzilla? And they're like, when did that come out? I'm like, never mind.
Forget it.
Never mind. Yeah, so it's like I don't have any of those people that I can talk to anymore when it comes to this. So it's like I can talk to someone, and there's only certain Marvel people, there's only certain DCU people, there's only certain people that I can talk to at work, and I don't see them every day. And when I do, it's like, so it's
like, did you see what's coming out?
Yeah. But I think I asked 5 people today, hey, did you guys watch Kong this weekend? Like, it was Easter. And did you watch Kong this weekend? And half of them like, no, I don't have HBO Max. You gonna give me your password? Nope.
No, sorry.
Nope. I'll give you my password. It's gonna cost you $14.99. A month. You guys want to do that?
Yeah, I was the same way. Came out Wednesday. I was like, nope, I don't want to hear anything. I'm watching it this weekend.
Yeah. No, it's fun. It's funny because I was like you. I came out Wednesday. Of course, my kids were like, did you watch it? No. Did you watch it? No. And I'm like, Falcon and the Winter Soldier's coming out on Friday. I'm going to watch that first on Friday. And then come this weekend on Saturday, maybe Sunday, I'll watch, Godzilla versus Kong. I'm not going to go off order yet because, I got to get into this order. So sure enough, Saturday comes. I'm like, all right, let's go watch King Kong. And I'm still kind of in that Winter Soldier phase, in my head. And I'm like, wow, this kind of made me not think of Falcon and the Winter Soldier at all.
Yeah.
It's
I
kinda cool.
have to check that one out too. I'm kind of on the fence of whether or not I'm gonna just let it finish and then just binge watch
No.
everything, or if I'll do the week to week.
3 episodes, man. You're 3 episodes in right now. So and they're about 40 minutes an episode. So you can probably knock them out in a day.
Okay.
They're not an hour episodes. Even like WandaVision.
Yeah.
I don't know if you finished WandaVision.
I haven't even started. My wife did. She finished it.
Yeah, I mean that's like 30, 40 minutes an episode as well. But that one, just the whole thing and how everything ties in together. That's the only reason why I'm watching it. So,
but it's just so hard for me to wait for the next week. I'm just like, I want to know what's going on now.
That's how we were when we were watching Walking Dead. Were you watching Walking Dead with me and Rex?
I was like, I was watching it when it first started. I followed Walking Dead all the way up until season 6, so midway season 6, and missed like 2 or 3 weeks of it, and then it just I haven't gone back since. So I'm just waiting for it to be completely done, and then I'll binge watch it.
I'm not gonna watch it anymore. I'm done. I mean, after I think the last episode I seriously watched is when they killed Glenn.
Yeah, I think that was where I got up to.
And after that, I'm like, I can't watch this. And then you're hearing things like
I've heard so much.
Carl's gone, and this is not, and Judith, the little girl, is now like taking over. I'm like, she's still alive,
Yeah, I can't.
Oh, man,
one day I'll go back just because I got so far. I'm like, I have to finish it, but right now I'm just not really that interested in finishing it.
I mean, I think the zombie thing is over, and the zombie. I mean, that's just how it is. I mean, I don't know.
Yeah. Well, I still, for me, zombies are my favorite. I guess of monsters, if you want to talk about it. But I just felt like that show ran its course. It was like how fucking long we're gonna run this thing into the ground.
So
if I stopped at season 6, and it's been a few years, I can't imagine where the hell they're at now.
I don't even know what season they're on. I'm telling you guys, they should have ended it with Rick Grimes waking up in the hospital, and his buddy Daryl. Is that his name? Daryl, whatever his buddy's name was. His buddy Daryl waking him up, going, "You all right, dude?"
Oh, Shane. No, Shane.
Shane. Yeah, Shane. Shane. Daryl's the other guy. Shane going up to him, going, "You all right, dude?" And he's like, "Dude, I just had the worst fucking dream ever." I had a dream the world was taken over by. That's how they should have ended the movie.
Or like Lost, that stupid ass show.
You're like,
everyone's dead.
Wait, are they dead? Wait, this whole movie, man. They were dead?
That is time in my life I will never get back. Thank you, Lost.
Perfect name for it too, Lost.
Seriously,
Lost
because that's what the writers were. They were lost. They were good for like the first 3 seasons, and then they started like, hey, let's just wing it. They really like it.
Yeah, let's just write how Hurley can't swim, and they're trying to save him from drowning, and let's add a submarine in here, and let's see where the submarine's coming from. Yeah,
just throwing some polar bears and some black smoke, and it's like, and this is all from Lost if you haven't seen it.
Yeah.
By the way,
that's exactly what we were talking about. But I mean, writers nowadays, they should just know when to end it, and like you said, Walking Dead ran its course. They should have ended it, but they're not. It took Lost a while for them to realize we're done. I mean, like Big Bang Theory, good show, good thing, but they were like, you know what? Let's end this before it gets too late.
And they came close.
Yeah.
But I'm still happy how it ended and how it was. Yeah.
Well, 10 years from now, we'll see a reunion. Most likely when they're all broke and they need money, we'll see a reunion. So.
It'll be on HBO Max.
Friends is coming out with a reunion, right? On HBO Max. Yep. HBO Max plus, because in 10 years it's going to cost us like $30 instead of what it's costing us right now.
Yeah. Oh, man.
All right, guys. This has been fun. And for you guys, there was a King Kong sound effect. But, everyone's like, I can hear the Godzilla. Where's Kong? There's Kong right there.
There's Kong.
There's Kong. You guys are wondering. Kong's sound effect is not as this is.
That's iconic.
Yeah.
I mean,
it's so iconic. Sir Mix-a-Lot put it on his song "My Posse's on Broadway." Do you remember that?
No.
There's a remix of "My Posse's on Broadway" with the Godzilla version. Yeah, look it up on YouTube or find it. Yeah, there's a remix of that one. Now I'm gonna end up looking it up too at the end of the show. But I'm like, oh my god, that's how popular this sound is. You know?
Yeah, I'm so happy they use it too.
Yeah. Oh my god.
Some things you can't change.
There's some things you can change, and I can't wait. Whatever they move forward with, whether it's going to be another Kong's sequel, whether it's a Godzilla sequel, whether they do decide to bring Ultraman or whatever. I mean, God, you Japanese. There's a lot of shows that I want you guys to bring over. Bring over, please. Yeah, you know that should be that should be a podcast, man. We should talk about that.
Oh yeah.
Japanese shows that they should bring to America, man. I got a lot that they should bring. They did. They tried some in the '80s that didn't work out. That they should do now, and
Yeah, we weren't ready. I think now, if you look at Netflix, I mean, just at the anime section alone,
Jesus. Yeah. Man, I mean, God. Yeah, we should talk about that. That should be something we should talk about.
That would be another episode.
Yeah, because there's a lot that I don't want to. I want to tell you, but I don't want to tell you.
We'll save it.
We'll save it for the podcast. So, man, but this has been fun. This is exactly what we like to do, and promise you guys, not till next year, we won't get a little, holy or biblical on you guys.
Yeah, exactly. And we'll try to make it a little lighthearted next time.
Little something like this, nothing like this.
Yeah.
All right, guys, this has been fun. Until next week, we are the Ordinary Joes. See ya.
The Ordinary Joes Podcast.